The paper trembled between his fingers. Not fear, impatience. The ceiling fan hummed above us, chopping the air into nervous pieces. Somewhere outside, a car door slammed. Ordinary sounds. Too ordinary for what was about to happen. I didn't take the papers. I listened. The scrape of his wedding ring against the glass table. The way he cleared his throat twice before speaking again. My name is Elena Moore. I'm 34 years old. Have you ever felt your life tilt before you knew why? It's just a refinancing thing, he said, smiling the smile I used to trust. Helps with the debt. Debt. The word landed heavy like it wanted to stay. I reached for my scarf, the blue silk one I always wore at home. It had been my mother's. I twisted it once around my fingers, a habit from before I understood betrayal. What kind of debt? I asked. He shrugged. Casual. Too casual. Business stuff. Temporary. The paper edge sliced my thumb as I finally took the stack. A sting. A drop of red bloomed. I remember thinking how strange it was that pain could be so small and still mean so much. Then I saw the heading. Dissolution of marriage. The fan hummed louder. Or maybe my ears did. What is this? My voice didn't rise. It went flat. Like a lake freezing over. He laughed softly. You're misreading it. I looked up. Past him. At the hallway mirror. For a second, just one, the reflection didn't look like me. The chair beside the wall looked like it was waiting for me to sit and understand something I didn't want to. You divorced me, I said. He didn't answer. Behind him my phone buzzed. A message preview flashed before the screen went dark. From, Lila, are you okay? My sister's name. That was the moment I realized betrayal doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives pretending to be paperwork. And nothing in this house, this marriage, was legally mine anymore. I stood up slowly, afraid that if I moved too fast the room would shatter into versions I couldn't put back together. You divorced me, I repeated, watching his face this time. The way his jaw tightened. The way he didn't meet my eyes. It was cleaner, he said. For taxes. For my creditors. Your creditors, I echoed. He nodded. It doesn't change anything between us. That sentence hung there, absurd and fragile. I walked past him toward the hallway mirror. The scarf trailed behind me like a question mark. In the glass I saw the life I thought I was living. Married woman, shared home, shared future, blur at the edges. How long? I asked. He hesitated. A half beat too long. 6 months. 6 months. Birthdays. Sunday mornings. My mother's anniversary. All while I was legally nothing to him. And Lila? I asked quietly. His reflection flinched before he did. It's complicated. I laughed once. A short, broken sound. You've always loved complicated. He stepped closer. Reached for my arm. I pulled away. You kept living here, I said, scanning the room, the couch we picked together, the art we never argued about. So she wouldn't know about the debt. So they wouldn't find you. So you could use my credit, I added, finally looking at him. Silence. From the kitchen the fridge clicked on. The house breathing like it didn't know who owned it. She's helping me, he said. Lila understands. I turned then. Fully. She understands stealing my husband? No, he snapped. She understands survival. That word. Survival. As if I hadn't been surviving him for years. I went to the bedroom and closed the door, not slammed. Just closed. On the bed sat my lottery ticket envelope. I hadn't opened it yet. I'd checked the numbers once online, then folded the paper back like it was too fragile to touch. I sat down. Outside the door I heard him pacing. The sound of a man who thought he still had time. I opened the envelope. And the numbers stared back at me like a secret that had finally chosen a side. My hands didn't shake. That surprised me most. The paper was warm from my grip, creased where I'd folded it too tightly days ago. $860 million. The zeros felt obscene like a dare. I pressed my thumb into the ticket, grounding myself in the texture of cheap paper and expensive destiny. The pacing stopped outside the door. Elena. His voice softened. We need to talk. I didn't answer. I thought about how money changes posture before it changes people. How power arrives quietly the way truth does, once it's done pretending. I stood and wrapped the blue scarf around my neck. Once. Twice. Armor. When I opened the door, he was leaning against the wall, relief already blooming on his face like he'd won something just by waiting. "We can fix this," he said. I tilted my head. Studied him. The man who had legally erased me and still expected me to make coffee in the morning. "I won," I said. "Won what?" "The lottery." The word landed wrong at first. Like it didn't know where to go. Then his pupils expanded. A reflex. Hunger. "How much?" he asked too quickly. "Enough." He smiled. Real this time. Stepped closer. "Then none of this matters." I laughed. Soft. Controlled. "That's where you're wrong." He reached for me again, confident now. "Legally, I'm still your husband." I met his eyes. "Are you?" He hesitated. "You said it yourself." He recovered. "Paperwork doesn't change us." I thought of the divorce decree. Of my sister's text. Of the house breathing around lies. "I'm tired," I said. "We'll talk tomorrow." He frowned. "Elena." I touched his chest lightly. "The way I used to." "Go stay with Lila tonight." He stiffened. "She's busy." I smiled. "So am I." He left angry, confused, already planning his return. I locked the door behind him and leaned my forehead against the wood. Tomorrow he would come back as my loving husband. And I would be ready. Because while he was hiding debt, I was building silence. And silence, when used correctly, is devastating. "Lawyer, Mrs. Moore, actually Ms. Moore, your husband finalized the divorce 6 months ago. You were not notified due to a procedural loophole tied to your joint address." "Me, so I'm not married." "Lawyer, legally?" "No." Pause. Paper shuffling. "Lawyer, however, he continued to present himself publicly as your spouse. Shared residence. Shared finances." "Me, to avoid creditors." "Lawyer, exactly." Silence. "Lawyer, which means his claim to your winnings is non-existent." I closed my eyes. The room smelled like lemon cleaner and old books. "Me, what about common law?" "Lawyer, not applicable in this state under fraudulent concealment." Fraud. Such an ugly word for something that had felt so intimate. "Me, Pie's sister." "Lawyer, she may be implicated if she knowingly assisted in asset concealment." A longer pause. "Lawyer, there's more." I waited. The silence felt intentional now. Controlled. "Lawyer, your ex-husband's debt is substantial. 7 figures. If he's proven to have lived off your credit while misrepresenting marital status." "Me, he loses everything." "Lawyer, yes." I looked at my reflection in the darkened window. The scarf at my throat. The woman staring back wasn't broken. She was precise. "Me, what do we do first?" The lawyer smiled. I could hear it. "Lawyer, we wait. Recording ends." When I left the office, the city felt quieter. As if it knew something. I didn't feel rich. I felt clean. And for the first time since the sound of tearing paper, I understood this wasn't about revenge. It was about letting the truth finish what it started. He showed up with flowers. Red roses. The kind he bought when he needed forgiveness fast. "You didn't answer my calls," he said, stepping inside like he belonged there. I took the flowers. Smelled them. Too sweet. Almost rotten. "You look good," he added. Relaxed. "I slept well," I said, placing the bouquet on the counter without water. He noticed the scarf. "Always noticed the scarf. You always wear that when you're thinking." I smiled. "Then I must be thinking a lot." He sat. Spread his arms along the back of the couch. Claiming space. "I talked to a lawyer," he said. "About the winnings." "Did you?" I asked. "Yes. As your husband, I'm entitled to half." I poured myself coffee. "But no sugar." "We're divorced," I said lightly. He laughed. "That was procedural. You didn't contest it. You didn't tell me." He leaned forward. "Elena, don't do this." "Do what?" "Act like a stranger." I met his eyes. Held them. "You made me one." His jaw tightened. "I stayed here. I supported you." "You hid here," I corrected. "Behind my name." He stood. Anger flaring now. "Lila told me you'd be difficult." There was. "Pie's sister," I said. "How is she?" He hesitated. "Worried about you." I nodded. Tell her not to be. He reached for my hand. I let him. Just long enough. I loved you, he said. I still do. I pulled my hand back slowly. Love doesn't require deception. He straightened. Calculating. We can settle this privately. I tilted my head. Why would we? Outside, a siren wailed, then faded. I'll file tomorrow, he said. Claim what's mine. I smiled then. Small. Almost kind. You should do that, I said. He left confident. Certain. The flowers on the counter drooped, petals falling silently to the tile. I didn't pick them up. Some things are better left to show how quickly they decay. Lila called that night. Her voice came through the phone soft, practiced. Elena, can we talk? I sat on the bed, the scarf pooled in my lap. The house was very still. You already did, I said. She sighed. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Nothing ever is, I replied. He was desperate, she said. The debt was crushing him. So you slept with my husband. Silence. Then defensive. You were always so calm. So settled. He needed chaos. I closed my eyes. Absorbed the sound of her breathing. My sister. My blood. You could have told me, I said. You wouldn't have understood. I laughed once. You're right. I wouldn't understand betrayal from my own sister. She sniffed. He says you're being vindictive. I smiled into the darkness. He says a lot of things. Please, she said. Don't ruin him. I stood. Walked to the mirror. Looked at us together in memory. Matching scarves as girls, secrets whispered. He ruined himself, I said. You just held the door open. She whispered my name. Like an apology. I have to go, I said. After I hung up, I didn't cry. I folded the scarf carefully and placed it in the drawer. Some voices lose their power once you stop waiting for them to explain. He smiled at me in court. A performance smile. For the judge. For the room. His lawyer spoke confidently. My client as the legal spouse. Objection, my lawyer said calmly. The word cut through the room. Documents slid across the bench. The divorce decree. The fraud filings. The debt disclosures. The judge adjusted her glasses. I watched his smile falter just slightly. My lawyer spoke without urgency. Mr. Moore divorced Ms. Moore in secret to conceal debt, continued cohabitation under false pretenses, and is therefore disqualified from any claim. Silence. The judge turned to him. Is this accurate? He opened his mouth. Closed it. I saw it then, the exact moment he understood the trap. The realization settling like dust after collapse. No, he said weakly. She knew. The judge looked at me. I met her gaze. Steady. I didn't. The scarf rested on my shoulders, visible. Familiar. Ruling followed swiftly. Finally. Claim denied. Assets protected. Investigation opened. As we stood to leave, he rushed toward me. You planned this. I leaned in just enough for him to hear. You taught me how. Lila sat behind him, pale. Avoiding my eyes. Outside, sunlight hit my face like permission. He called after me. My name sounded smaller now. I didn't turn around. Because some endings don't need witnesses. They just need to be final. I moved out. Not because I had to, but because I wanted air that hadn't held lies. The new place is smaller. Quiet. Sunlight in the mornings. I hung the blue scarf by the window, not as armor anymore, but memory. The money sits untouched in accounts designed to protect it. I hired people who speak softly and act precisely. He lost the house. The business. The version of himself that thought charm could erase consequence. Lila stopped calling. I don't miss her voice. Sometimes I walk past mirrors and recognize myself again. Not the woman who didn't know, but the one who survived knowing. People ask if it was revenge. It wasn't. It was clarity. Betrayal tried to make me small. Money didn't save me. Truth did. And the quiet justice of watching someone face the weight of their own choices? That was just balanced. I wrap the scarf around my neck when I leave the house. Not to protect myself, but to remind myself. I kept what mattered.